Good morning. Welcome to the NFL pick and weather forecast for November 1st, 2020. We'll see how we do this week. But in terms of the weather, I think you can pretty much tell where all the impacts are, and that is on the eastern United States, where we have a very impressive cold front that's moving through that is setting up some pretty heavy rainfall that is driving through the Baltimore metropolitan area and heading up towards Philadelphia and New York City. And also, we have heavy rainfall going back through Buffalo and parts of Cleveland. And aside from the rain, there's also some pretty strong wind gusts as well. So let's walk through some of the games that will be significantly impacted. For the 1 p.m. games, the Patriots versus Bills, periods of heavy rain, sometimes mixed with sleet, very windy. It's going to be a real issue for any type of ball control for that game. Titans versus Bengals, windy conditions but no precipitations expected. Could have an impact on your kicking game. Raiders versus Browns, lingering showers. Windy conditions are going to be your primary threat there. Windy conditions are also going to be a threat for the Vikings versus Packers game. I think there's going to be a lot of kicking games in terms of field goals that are going to be impacted by these weather impacts. For the Rams at the Dolphins, we have showers moving through down there as well. Some of those showers are producing some heavier downpours as well. So definitely a threat there for that game. And then the Steelers versus Ravens. The rainfall is rapidly leaving the region, but still look out for some scattered showers and capable of some heavier downpours and windy conditions as well. For the 4 p.m. game, looking at the Saints versus Bears, windy conditions are expected. No other impacts as all the other games are on the West Coast. And then for the 8 p.m. game tonight, the Cowboys versus Eagles, a few lingering showers possible, windy conditions for sure. So that's going to be a threat for that game. And of course, the Monday night game, we're also going to be looking for windy conditions. Broncos versus Giants at the Meadowlands. So again, this is going to be a very interesting week in terms of the field goal kicking and also the passing game. So if you have a good running game, then that's pretty much just what's going to support the chance for you to win. Now, my picks this week already for Carolina versus Atlanta. I thought this could have gone either way, and it was a really good game, but Atlanta pulled it out, so I didn't get that pick. So for this week, I like Buffalo beating New England here. Look, I think New England's days are past them. And I think Buffalo is the new team to take over for the AFC East, and they will cement that for the 1 p.m. game today. Tennessee versus Cincinnati. I like Tennessee. I like Cleveland beating the Raiders. Indianapolis versus Detroit. I think that Indianapolis is going to pull this out. I'm not really all that impressed with Detroit's defense. Green Bay versus Minnesota. Green Bay's just a better team. Kansas City versus the Jets. Look, Jet fans, I'm sorry. I really, really am. But this game's going to be over within 3 minutes of the first quarter. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a first time score of 87-0. Okay? Just the best team in the NFL versus the worst team of all time. It's not going to be pretty. The Rams versus Miami. I like Rams there. I think they're a better team. Although Miami's going to put up a heck of a fight. Baltimore versus Pittsburgh. I went with Baltimore, but honestly, you can go either way with that game. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter, and it's going to be a very entertaining game. Then the Chargers versus Denver. I like the Chargers. I like their quarterback a lot more than Denver's quarterback. Their defense also. I think this is going to be another high-scoring game, but I think that the Chargers are just going to be a better team overall and pull that one out. New Orleans versus Chicago. I think New Orleans is starting to gain its feet and trying to really consolidate their team. I think they'll be able to beat Chicago. Seattle versus San Francisco. I think they're one of the best teams, Seattle, in the NFC, and I think they're going to show it this afternoon versus San Francisco. Philadelphia versus Dallas. This is another game where you could just kind of toss it up. Who's going to want to lose this game? Because seriously, it seems like everyone in the NFC East just wants to lose because no one has a winning record and no one plays a good game at all. I'm going to go with Dallas just as a whim, but I could also see Philadelphia pulling this out. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. It'll probably be something like a 14-10 game, something of that nature. And then Tampa Bay will completely annihilate the Giants. Tampa Bay is just a better team all over in every aspect of the game. So, sorry, Giant fans. Not the best football year for New York City teams. And, well, Philadelphia isn't doing much better. That is your picks for this week. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.